What's up, YouTube, and welcome to Codename Scream. I am that horror guy.
And I'm Mel.
And please make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications for all things horror. You guys have made it to the very final Coast Encounters of the Third Kind. Scream kind.
Coast Encounters.
Coast Encounters. You guys still won't ever understand that.
But, you know...
Or the fact that I just messed it up in the intro. I'm going for 1,000 today.
If you saw the YouTube video when it was posted... just right as soon as it was posted, you'll understand.
Which they didn't.
Coast Encounters.
But we have come to the end of another series. So thank you for joining us and our antics and shenanigans leading to this point. What are we sending this off with today?
Well, I think we should both say it at the same time.
Yeah.
So, 3, 2, 1.
Species. Species.
There's no H in species, yet he says species.
But it's about a she. So therefore, it would be species.
Anyway, Species.
Species.
Released July 7th, 1995, directed by Roger Donaldson, written by Dennis Feldman, who also wrote Species 2.
Species.
Produced by Frank Mancuso Jr. and Dennis Feldman. Sometimes I do who the music was by. This is 2 videos in a row I've done this now. Christopher Young, and the reason I mention that is because he's done so many awesome horror soundtracks.
Yeah.
Hellraiser, Urban Legend, The Grudge, Drag Me to Hell, The Exorcism of Emily Rose, and Pet Sematary, to name a few. So he's been killing it in the horror music soundtrack.
Oh, yeah. And then, you know, on the production side, Frank Mancuso Jr.,
Oh, yeah.
you know, Friday the 13th
Yep.
franchise.
Yep.
Thank you to Frank. You know, we wouldn't have had anything after the 4th one.
Right.
So,
yeah.
some big names
then
going
my
into
shirt
this.
was
And I was going to say, you had an
today.
appropriate shirt today. Look at this. Hey, I got music, horror music. Ah! Look at us go. Well, let's talk about some budget and box office. Budget being $35 million, and box office was $113.3 million. That was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
What was really impressive was if you adjusted that for 2021 inflation, we're at 202.9, just shy of $203 million.
That's insane.
Absolutely insane. Some big numbers coming out of that. But I had this really bad feeling that critics and audience aren't going to be driving these numbers.
You are correct. Critic score of only 43%, audience of only 31%.
I had a feeling. This is a very large love-hate relationship.
Yeah, and it's like, it's crazy because so many people went to see it apparently when it was in the movie. To me, this was always like a B movie in my head, and I'm
Big
not
time.
sure why, but apparently it's not.
No.
So, I don't understand. I don't know. I was 3 when this came out, so.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, we're just not going to talk about ages right now.
Or maybe I'm a vampire and I was 3 million.
I was like,
You don't know, 3 what?
But just gonna run through this movie real quick. You guys will be able to stream it for yourselves on Amazon Prime Video, currently free at that. So link is in the description below. If you own it, you can just watch it there. Come join us here after. We'll just have a quick discussion about the film. But it is based around an alien that comes to Earth to find the mate to procreate and pretty much take over the whole entire world. And Natasha Henstridge is our amazing alien. And H.R. Giger coming in with some beautiful, beautiful visual effects. A take on an alien we have not seen yet. And as this alien's getting tailed by the FBI, they're leaving a trail of bodies along the way. And the gruesome, bloody, gory it was great. We finally near the end and almost succeed in our mission. Almost.
So close.
So close, but you failed. That's why we got a sequel out of it, so I guess it was something, right?
Yeah.
But that's about it. I said we are going to be brief these days, really encouraging everyone to come and check out these films with us.
Yeah.
So this makes these discussions a lot more fun. So speaking of discussions, what about fun facts?
Well, there's, I found a few. There's actually surprisingly not a ton on this movie.
No.
Like, I watched videos, listened to podcasts about this, and there's just not a whole lot on the production side.
Nope.
Probably because Giger's like a secretive dude. So I feel like that had a lot to do with it. Because I usually talk about like special effects and stuff like that. And he's just like, keeps a tight lid on a lot of stuff. So,
Oh, yeah.
The production company didn't want to shoot the nightmare train sequence in order to save money.
Okay.
It makes sense. H.R. Giger did not accept this, and he spent $100,000 of his own money to shoot it.
Quite noble.
Which...
That's a vision.
Good call, though.
Yeah.
And he was worth so much money at this point.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't really... Like $100,000, that's lunch money. In the scene where Silk comes out of the cocoon, the train set was built upside down. She was covered in KY jelly, completely naked, and was pushed through the cocoon. In post, they flipped it like right side up to make it seem like she was falling out.
And you could definitely tell that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I necessarily would have like even thought about that unless, but I wrote this before I watched it, and I was like,
oh, yes. I looked at this
that.
after I rewatched it. I'm like, oh yeah, you can definitely tell that.
Yeah.
I mean, that KY jelly, just gross.
Yeah.
Nasty.
So this was kind of disappointing. Michael Madsen claimed this was one of the few movies he was actually proud of, but said that the sequel was awful and he only did it for the paycheck.
He's not wrong, though. The sequel was awful.
It's not good.
Yeah. Both sequels are pretty terrible.
But
actually.
it's like, it's kind of disheartening when you like read something about someone that like they read the script and they're like, this is terrible, but it's money. It's like, where is your whatever that word
nobility?
I'm looking for. Sure. But whatever.
Oh well.
This movie has the same tagline as 1987's Black Widow. She mates, she kills.
Not to be confused with 2021's Black Widow.
Yes.
Because that one just kills?
Yeah. As far as I know.
As far as I know. I haven't watched it yet. But, yeah. So, what did you think of this one?
It is one of the most underrated Giger films. Because, I'll start with that. Because when you think of his work, you don't think of this movie.
No.
At least I don't. And I've watched a lot of videos on Giger, because that's just like, you can go down a whole rabbit hole with him, which sometimes leads you to some dark places in the internet that I wouldn't suggest.
Yeah.
But it's like everyone always is alien, and this just was such, I think, almost better than Alien.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was just, you could say Alien was unique too, but just the vision of this, you could tell there was like a clear vision.
Right.
And he just knocked it out of the park with this. So
right.
I will lead with that. And it's just a good movie. Like, there's not really much I can say other than this is just a good movie. It's very sci-fi. So I feel like someone that is not necessarily into sci-fi probably won't like this movie.
No.
Whereas I feel like a lot of things we've talked about in this sci-fi series, people that aren't necessarily into sci-fi could enjoy. This one probably not so much, because you were on, speaking of trains, the sci-fi nerd train.
Oh yeah,
with
big
this
time.
One. Yeah, like Comic-Con Central over here, which is probably why I like it, because I'm a huge nerd. But yeah, I hadn't seen this movie in a long time, and I was like, oh, this movie was so cheesy. Like, I was thinking that when we were gonna do this one, and I was like, oh, I don't really want to watch this. It's cheesy. And then I put it in and watched it, and I was like, this is a good movie.
Yeah.
Like, I forget what a good movie it is, probably because the cover is so cheesy.
Big
and
time.
it looks like the movie art, whoever did the movie art for this, like, should be fired, because it wasn't good. Like, the movie poster and like,
well, this whole series, the movie poster, the movie cases, they've been all trash.
They look like something off of the Sci-Fi Channel. And
yeah.
I'm just gonna say, some things on the Sci-Fi Channel are great. This looks like one of the not so great Sci-Fi Channel.
Oh, this one's not that bad compared to the third one. It looked like the Sci-Fi Channel porn edition of the movie. It was terrible.
Yeah, none of them are good. So that's really my only complaint with this whole thing is artwork. And when that's the only complaint, you got a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
So I like this one. What about you?
I love this film.
Good.
This and Event Horizon were the two I was the most excited to do. And this one more so. This was like legitimately my favorite movie for years.
That's awesome.
For years. I used to fall asleep to this movie.
That's crazy because you were most excited about doing this. This is the one I was dragging my feet about. I was like least excited. I was like, oh God, I gotta watch this movie. And then I was like, it was like a pleasant surprise. I was like,
oh yeah, no, I used to sleep to this movie for years. Like, it's one of my favorite movies in the sci-fi genre. I've never classified it as horror, though it gets pigeonholed, and here we are on a horror channel talking about it, so it had to be horror in some way to some people. It is definitely, without a doubt, super nerd sci-fi.
Yeah.
I think when you had said earlier that when you think of Giger, you don't think of this. This is immediately what comes to mind for me.
Interesting. I feel like you're in the minority with that.
Probably.
But it's probably because you've seen it so much.
Yeah.
But, like, like I was saying, if you look up anything on Giger, like, talking about his work, they'll, like, mention this, but it's, like, just a brief little interjection.
Just a blip,
and then they're like, Xenomorph!
Yeah. Exactly. And it's, like, the Xenomorph is iconic.
Yeah.
But, yeah, this is something that sticks out to me. Next to Giger's work with this would be Jonathan Davis's live music, like, mic stand.
Yeah.
Which looks almost like Syl.
Exactly.
To a T. And that's probably why I ended up loving this movie so much, because I was huge into Korn at the time.
I thought you were going to say, this is why I like Korn. I was like, that's a really weird reason to like Korn.
It might have helped influence it. Who knows?
That's cool.
But the visual effects, for 1995, absolutely amazing. Loved that. The music was what really got me. Yep. It felt, like it fit the mood, the whole thing, start to finish. There was never a moment where the music felt like it didn't fit. It felt like it definitely took and created the story.
And it doesn't feel dated either.
No.
Which a lot of things in the early to mid 90s feel like you listen to it now and it's like kind of cringy.
Oh yeah.
This holds up.
Like, you look at it like, the Fear Street 94, and that's like nostalgia, central. So that music, like that, music was dated for that time period. This stood up and still stands. It's honestly one of the best film scores. Yeah. And I forgot how much I enjoyed it until I went back and rewatched this again. They picked some amazing actors and actresses to fill these places. Like, look, Natasha Henstridge going with almost no dialogue whatsoever, and only bits and pieces here and there.
I thought you were gonna say no clothes.
Well, that too. I was gonna say something about her body language, but I mean, we see that too. But to have to really build your character off of like a lot of just emotion and body language in more ways than one, and in facial expressions, it's a testament to her as an actress.
That's some of my favorite movies have actors that have very little dialogue, because when they pull that off, it is so good. Like, the one thing that comes to mind, I'm going off the rails here, but what is that movie about the chick who's deaf and then someone breaks into her house? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Hush. Yeah.
Like, that's something that comes to mind too, like a character with very little dialogue that just, like, it makes the movie. And this is one of those movies where that, like, if she would have been talking the whole movie, I feel like it wouldn't even...
It would have defeated the whole purpose of the film.
Right. So when an actor can pull that off, and I've seen movies where they try, and it's like, this is so bad.
Oh, yeah.
But nothing about any of her scenes were boring.
No.
Because her body language told so much, and her facial expression. So, yeah, that was a good point.
Yeah, and Alfred Molina, amazing. I don't think there's ever a role he's bad at. Yeah. And I love that he's like the super nerdy, quirky doctor that kind of just screws everything up for everybody. Almost.
Yep.
Almost.
Yeah, almost.
But, so yeah, that is the end of our sci-fi horror series. We had a lot of fun with this one. So, as always, what did you think of this? Keep the spoilers out of the comments and save those for messages on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or email. And let's chat about this a little bit more. When you think of Giger, what do you think of? Let's start with that. And if you're not familiar with Giger, it's time to go get acquainted with some Giger.
Yeah, there's a great documentary.
Yes.
Look up that documentary. I can't remember.
I was like, there's a great movie, but it has a title.
Yeah. That would be an interesting thing to do for Patreon. Mm-hmm. Which is why you should join our Patreon, because we do things that we're not going to do here. Yep.
And it's only $1 a month. And because we're, already shamelessly promoting, what are we doing this month?
We are leaving our channel in your hands, which is a scary thought. It feels like a teenager driving for the first time.
Feels just like that, actually.
We have no teenagers, so we don't know that. But
Yeah.
anyway.
Siblings, though.
Yeah. So this month, we each picked a movie, and you get to pick between those two which one we cover. So we're going to do 2 a week. Polls will be posted up on the Patreon on Sunday, and voting ends on Tuesday. So join for just $1 a month, and you can direct this whole month. And we have no idea what we're watching. So that's going to be interesting, and vote for the right person. Movie person.
Movie people person.
Movie people person.
Yeah. But either way, hope you guys are enjoying what we're doing here, and we're looking forward to seeing what you make us watch here. So with that being said, scary later, YouTube.